Hi everyone, this is Darren from SimNation, just doing a quick recap video for SNCFL, which is SimNation's FBS league running on Draft Day Sports College Football 2025. We just completed week 2 and are moving towards week 3. Some changes in the top 25. UCLA is still number 1. Michigan is at number 2. So Stuart, congrats. You have the top 2 teams in the nation. Georgia's moved up to number 3. That's Shark. Louisiana Monroe, which is Skelter, moved up to 4. Maryland is at number 5. Invisible and his Auburn Tigers have moved up to 6. Skelter's Oklahoma State has moved up to 7. Duke is at number 8. Congrats. I mean, Stuart has 3 teams in the top 10. DWK and Cincinnati have moved up to 10. That's a really good move for him. Also, Shark with his Ohio State Buckeyes has moved up to 11. Bama has the number 12 team at Virginia Tech. Shark's other team, Coastal Carolina, comes in at number 13. Starfinder has Florida at number 14. Kevin hasn't played yet this season, so he's stuck at number 15. Clemson, coming off the week 1 loss to Auburn, is at number 16. Visible has his Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns at number 17. And then Bama has his other team at number 22. Washington, which is one of my teams, comes in at number 23. And then the rest of these are all CPU. So if we take a quick look at the results from last week, let's go back to week 2. Just a couple quick things is we had Clemson easily beat Louisiana Tech. Duke thumped Oregon. Cincinnati, this is a battle between DWK and Van. Uh, Cincinnati beat USC, probably because USC's throwing the ball a little bit more than I think Van wants them to. Buffalo, of course, beat Louisville, which gets my zero to hero team to 2-0. Sorry, Steam is doing something weird, but uh, Indiana, which is Bama, beat Arizona State convincingly. Auburn beat Washington State convincingly. So it's invisible witness. Of course, Indiana is Bama. Bama in California beat Akron quite easily. DWK has Alabama. He beat Wisconsin convincingly. Skelter thumped Kansas State. Washington versus Florida State. Washington would actually upset Florida State, so they beat a ranked team, largely about because Richmond just had a really good game. Florida versus Colorado. So this is Starfinder versus my former team, Colorado. He won that one pretty well. Virginia Tech, of course, thumped Utah State. Udo lost to Wyoming in a heartbreaker. Georgia thumped Georgia. The game was probably not as close as it should have been, but in this case, Shark won a close one against Western Michigan, and again, Western Michigan is just one of 2 seasons removed from Stuart coaching them. Oklahoma beat UTEP, shutting them out. All Smiles lost a heartbreaker to Old Dominion. The running back, this wide receiver for Old Dominion was just insane. Um, if we, well, we'll look at that later. That's just an insane metric. I mean, 4 catches for 227 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean that. I don't even know what to say about that. That's like 50 yards a catch. Oklahoma State versus Missouri. This one wasn't close. Skelter thumped Missouri. Same thing for UCLA, who thumped Ohio. Georgia State, this is Stewart's 4th team. They lost to heartbreaker in overtime to North Carolina. Uh, so I know he's hoping to capitalize after a really good last season. Georgia State's just starting a little bit slow. Iowa, this is Joe Betts, beat Bowling Green. Louisiana Lafayette, again, a visible witness, beat North Texas pretty convincingly. I had to drop Appalachian State because I failed to realize that Maryland was actually scheduled against both Appalachian State and Colorado. So I dropped both teams. Maryland won this one, but it was closer than probably what Maryland wanted. Um, Ohio State convincingly beat Ball State. Coastal convincingly beat Syracuse. Toledo, whose Java lost to TCU. First season is always tough in an online league, and I don't think Java has experience with online leagues in general. But he'll get it righted. All smiles with Marshall beat Purdue. Michigan thumped Arkansas. Arkansas is in the Sun Belt. They're not as good as they are in real life, so don't read into that. And then the rest of these are all CPU battles. Minus, of course, Texas, who is a team I took over. Where are they? There they are. They lost to Texas A&M. I think I know what I did wrong with them, and I should be able to fix that. So if we look ahead to this week and just to the standings, um, NC State is off to a fast start. No shock there. Clemson, I mean, their loss is to Auburn, who's ranked. Florida State kind of uh, by um, got shelled by Washington, which was a shock. But you see, Stuart and Bama are both off to a fast start, and then you also have Pittsburgh up there. This week, Clemson versus Cincinnati should be a good game. I think DWK's got Cincinnati on a good track, but I think Clemson will probably win this one. Uh, and it should be close. Duke is going to thump Mississippi. Tennessee versus Louisville. Udo should beat Louisville quite convincingly. Bama versus Texas Tech. I like Virginia Tech in this one. They should win pretty convincingly. NC State should get by Northwestern, so I don't see any change there. And then looking at the other undefeated, Pittsburgh should beat Tulsa. No shock here. Stephen Lind is one of the top running backs. Matt, who runs Clemson, is actually a really good rushing offense coach. A lot of things to say though. Cincinnati is off to a 2-0 start. That's really good. This is one of the harder divisions in the American Athletic. Uh, East Carolina and Cincinnati will be the two teams to watch, with Central Florida maybe looking in. Houston and Memphis are the two teams to watch in the West. They're both CPU teams. We talked about Clemson, Cincinnati. Florida, which is Starfinder, should beat Navy relatively easy. Auburn's going to shred Temple. Alabama should thump South Florida. And East Carolina should get past Western Kentucky, and Memphis should easily deal with Boston College. In the Big 12, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are the two undefeated teams. If you want to come into this league, Oklahoma's a good team to take. Texas, of course, is at 1-1. We talked about Virginia Tech, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Marshall. Marshall's all smiles. I like Marshall in this one, but he's just gonna have to be careful with Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a really good short passing game, so just hopefully all smiles takes that into account, and then he should be fine. Oklahoma State's just gonna completely thump Penn State. Maryland, Colorado should be close. Michigan should shred West Virginia, and then the rest of these are all CPU related, except for Texas, Hawaii. Texas should beat Hawaii, but who knows? They lost to Texas Tech. I mean Texas A&M. Sorry. Ohio State right now is there's really not a leader. They haven't played a conference game, but you have Ohio State, which is Shark, Michigan, which is Stuart, Michigan State, which is a CPU team, and Maryland, all undefeated. Indiana won their last game. Rutgers, of course, hasn't played a game yet. I'll have to fix that for next season. I know it's a little frustrating for Kevin. Iowa with Joe Betts is off to a fast start in the West, and Iowa and Nebraska are the two teams to watch. Mentioned before, Ohio State is going to probably shred Utah State. That's not going to be close. Rutgers should convincingly beat Western Michigan. Kevin is a good coach, and Western Michigan is on CPU. We talked about some of these other games. Iowa should shred Vanderbilt. Louisiana Lafayette should beat Wisconsin. The Fun Belt teams have quite a few human coaches there, so they're typically better than the CPUs. And then if you look Hill, you can see a lot of Michigan Hill, except for Logsdon, who is off to a fast start, but so is Jamar Kruger, who is a former University of Maryland running back. who didn't like the playing time he was getting, or actually, I think he didn't like that I redshirted him at the end of the season. So he decided to go to the other M, which is Michigan, and that should make for an interesting matchup between these two teams when they play. Conference USA, not going to really go into this. There aren't many. Marshall. All Smiles is off to a fast start with Marshall. I like his chances. This week's a little bit harder for him because he does have Oklahoma. But all in all, should be good. Cal should thump James Madison. Washington should be able to get past Florida Atlantic. Although Florida Atlantic is a better team than they look like on paper. They all 1-0, and they have been ranked in the recent history. We'll move to FBS. Big game hill for Van. I think he has figured out some of the challenges he was having in week 1 and 2, and he should translate that. Notre Dame will be a little bit harder team to face because it's only 2 seasons we moved from being my zero to hero team, and they have a pretty good passing attack. By the way, I like USC in that game. Van should win that. Northern Illinois, of course, is all smiles. Toledo is Java. Buffalo is my team. Right now, I think Northern Illinois, Western Michigan's probably going to be the team to beat over here, but the out of conference has been brutal to the Mid Atlantic, as you can see. The West doesn't have a single team with a win, and the only wins have come on the eastern side, with Buffalo and Bowling Green accounting for that. Don't look for much to change. Louisiana Monroe is going to thump Ball State. It's not even going to be pretty. We talked about Rutgers, Western Michigan. Toledo, Fresno State. Fresno State's a really good team. I don't think this is the week that Java gets a win with Toledo. I think Fresno State wins this one. Northern Illinois, San Diego State, same thing. San Diego State is a really tough team to deal with. We'll see if All Smiles can game plan the win hill, and it would be a game planning win because I think San Diego State has a pretty good team. Uh, I am going to go for the upset. I do think All Smiles upsets them and gets a win. Buffalo should beat Mississippi State, although it's going to be really close, and the rest of the ones just don't matter because of CPU. If we in You can see Benjamin Perrone is off to a fast start with the Northern Illinois squad, which is all smiles. He's having a pretty good passing campaign. Mountain West, not much to say here because this is all CPU, but Colorado State is doing what I thought they would. Boise State's back on the right path. Those are two teams to watch in the mountain. San Diego State, we just talked about them. In Nevada and UNLV are the three teams to watch in the West, but keep an eye on TCU. They're playing better than I thought they would. We've already talked about all these games, except for Colorado State, Washington State. Colorado State should win this one. Even though it's CPU, I'll bring them up because Colorado State's one of those teams just to keep an eye on throughout the season. And if you want to join our league, it's and go into Mountain West. That's a really good team to take. In the Pac-12, no shock Cow's Hill, no shock Stanford's Hill. A little bit of a shock that Washington is. That largely has to do with Washington's quarterback. UCLA, no shock, they are where they are. Van is 1-1 with USC. He's got a little bit of a tough matchup this week, but we'll see if he can navigate it. You can see Willie Garrett from Cal is having a really good season. So Cintron from UCLA, and of course Condon, who I think was like one of the top quarterbacks in the year he came out, is having a really good season. We talked about most of these games. Coastal Carolina will shred Utah. That's not going to be close. I'm trying to see if we have another one that matters. We don't. Southeastern, uh, kind of. Louisiana Monroe and Auburn are the two leaders in this. Ole Miss is playing a little bit better than I thought they did. Mississippi State is also undefeated. That may change this week. Alabama's only got one loss. Texas A&M only has one loss. So the West may be a little bit more competitive than I thought it would be, but I think Auburn and Louisiana Monroe at the end of the day will be competing for that title. Uh, all roads still lead through Athens in the East with Shark in Georgia, but Starfinder's got Florida off to a pretty good start. He's So we'll continue to watch that. Udo is 0-2, but he should get a win here shortly. We mentioned most of these games already, so not going to repeat them. But I will call out that Shane Young is having a pretty good season running the ball. No signings that probably will change this week because a lot of the signings tend to start in week 3. And we'll see if who gets the first set of signings. In the Sun Belt, no shock, Coastal Carolina's Hill. Louisiana Lafayette's only played 1 game. Georgia State is a little bit farther down than I thought they would be. Of course, App State is because I had to drop them because of what I mentioned earlier. So right now it's looking like Coastal Carolina, Louisiana Lafayette, and Troy. New Mexico State did have a good season recently, so they could potentially be in the mix. But I think when we get to the end of the season, it's really going to be Coastal and Louisiana Lafayette fighting it out. You can see here Rodney Turner's having a pretty good season. Just keep an eye on Troy. They have historically done well, and they may sneak in, especially with App State probably not going to have as good of a year as they normally do. It's still too early to pick a Heisman, and I wouldn't do that. But as you can see, Larry Hawthorne's having a good season, but Jesus Hicks is having a really good beginning to the year. Passing touchdowns, it's definitely Michigan with Ryan Underwood, which is funny because Michigan's current quarterback is Bryce Underwood, um, or hopefully will be their current quarterback. If we look at rushing yards, Durand is up there almost every year. It'll be another fight between him and Logston to see who comes in with the rushing title, but keep an eye on Kruger as well. Gates is having a really good beginning opening, and as you can see, Michigan has 2 300-yard running backs already, so definitely Stuart is running the ball with authority. Centron, I mentioned him, and Garrett are the top 2 touchdown scorers amongst the running backs. Uh, Kind of a shock for Van. I don't expect Molo to stay uphill, candidly, because Van's probably going to be switching back to his patented rushing attack, which means Molo will probably get more blocks and he'll get receptions going the rest of the way. Receiving touchdowns again, Udo throws the ball really well. Blair is having a really good season now. Sacks, um, we have too early to really say, but Ransom's off to a good start with Boise State. With interceptions, you can see a couple people have 3, with Louise, McConnell, and Ridgeway all getting those in. And then performance-wise, no shock that Louise is up there because he's got a couple interceptions, but Durand is the top offensive output person right now. So that's it. We'll do another video soon. Hope you like this. If you want to join us, there's some really good teams out there that you could definitely take and immediately have a feeling of making it to the playoffs. Oklahoma's one. East Carolina, Stanford, Houston, Virginia, Colorado State, NC State, and then there's some other ones that only have 1 loss that definitely you could take, and I mentioned a couple of those in this video. So thank you for your time tonight. I'd love to have you join our league. We'll do another one probably this weekend coming, so it'll probably be roughly about week 4, week 5, and we should start to see some breakaways. Have a great night. Thank you.